This video is brought to you by Patreon. Sign up today. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rougpod. This is week 4 of the NFL season. These weeks seem to be just flying by, but hey, what can you do? We knew this was going to happen. This has been a very up and down season so far, especially for our Baltimore Ravens. But anyway, today we are going to take a look at and preview the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, going up to the Dog Pound this Sunday to fight for AFC North supremacy. Both the Ravens and the Cleveland Browns are 2-1, sitting atop the division with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we're going to dive into this game, take a quick preview. Also, we're going to pick the winners from the rest of the NFL action. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end of this video because I have some news about the channel or just about things that I have going on in general, trying to expand, trying to grow, trying to turn this into a real, legitimate, certified business. So once again, I appreciate everyone for all of the support that they give me, all of the future support that I am going to get, and let's jump into it. So, like I said, this is a matchup between the 2-1 Ravens taking on the 2-1 Cleveland Browns. I know this may be a little bit of surprise coming into this portion of the season because a lot of people thought that the Ravens were going to be 3-0. I thought they were going to be 3-0. I thought possibly they may run the table till about week 9, week 10. I didn't think that the Ravens were going to lose a game this early, but unfortunately, they had one of those outings. Now, the Cleveland Browns are also a surprise to some teams, being 2-1 leading the division. It's not a surprise to me. If you are a friend of the channel, you will know that I have been saying Cleveland is going to be a problem all off season long. Now, I know that they lost Nick Chubb in week 1, but with them being one of the teams that have one of the better offensive and defensive lines, they find a way to win, especially with Defensive Player of the Year candidate annually, Myles Garrett. Now, right now, during this part of the season, coming up game 4, the Cleveland Browns are the #1 rated defense in the NFL. I think they are #1 in every category across the board. Now, I need somebody here to help me kind of figure some things out because normally during one of my videos or in other streams, when I say, hey, this individual made a play against the backup, a sorry team, like just somebody that just wasn't up to par, everyone says to me, you can only play the people in front of you. You can only play the games or the teams that are put right there for you to play. Okay, granted, I give you that. But with the Cleveland Browns being #1 in defense, all people can say and all I've heard throughout social media is, who have they played? I'll tell you who they played. They played the teams that have been put in front of them. See where I'm going with this? I just need things, or I just want things to be consistent across the board. That's the only thing that I do. I'm impartial when it comes to truths. A lot of people say I may hate on something, but the issue is I love the truth. Regardless if it is pro my team, con my team, it makes no difference. The truth is the truth. You can't have it one way for one and another way for another. So defensively, they are the #1 team. Now, something that I saw earlier that kind of made me chuckle a little bit was I was just looking at one of the Ravens publications, the one, the main Ravens publication, and I saw this. It says, the Browns have the NFL's #1 ranked defense on paper. And I laughed because I'm like, okay, you're saying that like it's a bad thing. They're #1 ranked on paper. Now, we normally say these things during the off season when we start going over rosters like, hey, this team is really talented on paper, but the Cleveland Browns have played games. So they're not just #1 on paper, they're #1 on the field. I'm not saying that we underestimated the Indianapolis Colts, but it's just things like this that kind of puts that air of confidence, this air of cockiness in the air. Now, granted, we have a great defense as well, but we are injured. So right now, we're playing catch up. We'll spot them the #1 defense right now, but let's see once we get healthy what happens. But as of right now, they are the king of the hill. And with the up and down nature that I've seen for the past few weeks, we have a reason to be worried. Like, I know we can turn it around. I know in week 2 we saw something, or we saw a semblance of what this Ravens offense could be. But listen, last week against the Tennessee Titans, it's Tennessee. I know they're going to say Ryan Tannehill. They're not that team that they used to be. They still have Derrick Henry. They held Derrick Henry to 20 yards. They held an NFL franchise in today's NFL to 94 total yards. I don't care who you're playing. You can sit there and say you haven't played anybody, but what other team has held another team under 100 total yards this season? Or in the last few seasons, gotta think about it. You can't name any. So don't sit there and say somebody's poor or somebody's not as good as you think. It's hard to hold a team under 100 yards. And that's something that he did. So for me, this is why I had a little trepidation for this game. I haven't really made my pick as of yet. I guess I'll do that when I go through the picks. But I'm wavering. I'm waffling because the Ravens right now are injured. They're an injured team. It seems like every week somebody else is on the board. Fortunately for us, with the injury report as of Wednesday, we had center Tyler Linderbaum, left tackle Ronnie Stanley, and free safety Marcus Williams return to practice. Now, they return to practice on a limited participant basis, but at least they're back on the field practicing. I think that is a step in the right direction. We're going to need them. We're going to need those off. We're going to need Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley to come in there if they're healthy. If they're not fully healthy, let them be where they are, because you have Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith on tap. Also, Marlon Humphrey, he was slated to come back by week 1, possibly. We're heading into week 4. He's still not back. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out. Justice Hill. Now, Justice Hill returned to practice on Thursday. Rashad Bateman is still out. Odafe Owe's out. David Ojabo, he's out. Kyle Hamilton, he was on the list with a back injury as of Wednesday, but he did come back to practice on Thursday. Now, newly signed outside linebacker Kyle Van Noy, he practiced for the first time. He also practiced again today. Don't know if that means he's going to be able to play in the game. Hopefully, because we need somebody. We need a pass rush linebacker. We need a linebacker that can cover the tight ends, because we do have David Njoku. I know he has not lived up to expectations, but we need a linebacker that can cover. We need someone that can take Tyus Bowser's place, be utilized in his role, because we need Jadeveon Clowney rushing the passer. A lot of you guys were a little sour on Jadeveon being signed by the Ravens, but as of right now, outside of Kyle Hamilton leading the team in sacks, he is our best pass rusher. One-on-one, he has the best win rate percentage on the team. He has the most pressures. He's been asked to do things that he's not used to doing, a la covering backs and tight ends. So now we have Kyle Van Noy. If he can play, he can take over that role, and we can utilize Jadeveon in the role that he was meant to be, because our pass rush right now is not up to par. And if Kyle Hamilton is limited in any fashion, that's going to make it a little bit easier for Cleveland to move the ball. Also, Gus Edwards, who went out with a concussion last week, is back. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, and hopefully Justice Hill is healthy, because I'm not too sure about leaving the rushing department in the hands of Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake. We saw last week they just could not handle it. Lamar was our leading rusher once again. I don't want that happening any further. I need Lamar to get out and do Lamar things, like I spoke of when I spoke of Cleveland. Defensively, they are the number 1 unit. They have Myles Garrett on one side. They have former Ravens Darius Smith on the other side. When I say it's going to be all hands on deck, it's going to be all hands on deck. Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks last week, and we got a bunch of backups in right now. So I need them to protect my quarterback at all costs. Now, also, a guy who the Ravens fans should be very familiar with, Cleveland Brown will linebacker Jeremiah Awasu Koromoa. All Ravens fans should be familiar with this guy. Hopefully, we do not have a repeat performance from last time when he kind of did Lamar dirty. We didn't forget. Also, they have cornerback Denzel Ward, who I do believe is one of the better cornerbacks in the league. The Cleveland Browns get back Greg Newsome II. And they have Juan Thornhill that they just acquired as one of their safeties. So Cleveland's defense is just not a one-man show. And I think with the depleted team that we have right now, there could be some problems. I know that Zay Flowers is going to get his, but outside of him, who's going to do anything? Because Odell Beckham's not back. I don't think Bateman's going to play because he's not practicing right now. Nelson Aguilar is a little dinged up, but I don't know if they can lock him down. Are they going to put somebody in double Mark Andrews? This is my concern, because defensively, they have defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Now, I know they let go of Joe Wood, and all Ravens fans may not know this, but Joe Wood was the previous defensive coordinator. He did a decent job versus the Ravens, but now they have Jim Schwartz, Super Bowl winning coach, Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, former Detroit Lions head coach. So they have someone who knows what he's doing. And then also he has a blueprint, because if he looks at the game last week from the Indianapolis Colts, he's going to blitz, and he's going to blitz a lot. That is something that we could not overcome last week. So hopefully we practice these things. We practice against it. We practice against the zero blitz, because we're still having issues that we've had from years past. Hopefully we can make these adjustments and do what we need to do. Now, offensively, when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, they are without Nick Chubb. Brings a tear to my eye. Favorite running back. I'll say that till the day I die. Ravens fan, but I love Nick Chubb. Good dude. Probably the best running back in the league. Shout out to great Christian McCaffrey and all of them. But I do think Nick Chubb is the most consistent, and at one point in time, the most durable running back in the league. Now, Deshaun Watson last week against Tennessee, he kind of looked like Deshaun Watson of old. There was a play where he got tripped up, fell to the ground, got up, completed the pass. He looked a little bit better than he has in the past. Is this just an aberration, or is this the new Deshaun Watson? Is he finally getting comfortable in the system? If he is, it's going to present a problem for us in this game and just going forward in general, because without Nick Chubb, they're going to lean on Deshaun Watson to make better plays. Now, unlike Houston, they have a complete team. They have an offensive line. They have a defensive line. They have a defense that can get the ball back and score. Not saying Houston wasn't good defensively. They just were not this good. So when it comes down to this matchup, what are the Ravens going to do? Who are the Ravens going to put on Amari Cooper? Now, I know a lot of people aren't really high on Amari Cooper because he's not flashy. He doesn't run his mouth, but he's solid and he's consistent. He gets 1,000 yards every year, 6 to 9 touchdowns every year, and he just makes plays. Elijah Moore can get funky on you. They have the rookie Cedric Tillman. They have pieces to catch the ball. I just don't know if we have enough defensive backs. So we're going to have to lean on Mike McDonald to scheme up something to kind of keep them under check in the passing game. Now, they do have Jerome Ford running the ball. They just recently re-signed Kareem Hunt. I don't know how much Kareem Hunt has left back in the tank, but this will be his second game. He's third on the depth chart right now, so I'm not really worried about him. I don't think running the ball is going to be an issue. I think the Ravens will be able to stop the run versus Cleveland during this game. It's just the pass. What are we going to do? How are we going to scheme things up, especially being down the starting free safety, a starting cornerback? Not to mention, is Geno Stone healthy? I haven't heard much about Geno Stone. I know he left with an injury. Haven't heard too much about it. So if we're down another safety, what are we going to do? Is that going to take and force the team to move Kyle Hamilton out into coverage and not have him closer to the line of scrimmage? It is yet to be seen. I just think with all of these things, it is going to be a pretty good game. It's an uphill battle. Now, I've said this all week long. Yes, the Ravens did lose last week, but it does not mean that the sky is falling. It does not mean that the season is over. But this is a tough stretch of games right now coming up where we're going to kind of find out what we have as a team currently. Because once again, the injuries have decimated this team, and we don't really know how much that we have. How quickly can we get these guys back off of the injury list and get them playing up to their standards, especially this offensive line, because we got some issues and we got some teams coming up, not just this week, but next week. We have Highsmith and TJ Watt coming to town and Dirty Minka Fitzpatrick. So it just doesn't stop here. We have a little gauntlet coming up. We're going to go to London. So to me personally, we have to win this game, or there could be some sort of a landslide, some sort of a confidence deflator, and the Ravens might trend in the wrong direction. I'm not for certain, but hopefully we win. And that is my outlook for the Ravens Week 4 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. So let's jump into the rest of the NFL action while I give you my predictions. Tonight, we have the Detroit Lions traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Packers have not looked spectacular, but Jordan Love has them winning. I thought last week they were dead in the water against the New Orleans Saints, but they came back, won the game. Detroit has been playing pretty well. They beat the defending Super Bowl champions opening night weekend, but they've had a little hiccup. Normally in these matchups, I pick the home team on Thursday night games, but this is a week of bad matchups, where certain games are kind of hard to call because both teams are kind of equal on equal footing, whether they're equally as good or equally as bad. But in this one, I guess I'm going to have to stick to my guns and go with the Green Bay Packers. I always say go with the home team on Thursday nights. Now for Sunday, the first matchup is going to be a 9:30 a.m. treat as the Atlanta Falcons and the Jacksonville Jaguars travel to London to play the first overseas game. Every time I see the Atlanta Falcons, I just sit back and laugh because I remember back to when Lamar was a free agent And Arthur Blank was like, we don't need no stinking Lamar. We have a Desmond Ridder. And yes, you have a Desmond Ridder, considered probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, even maybe a step below Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. They may have a plan. Arthur Blank may have a plan for next season. Hopefully get one of the top quarterbacks, maybe Shador Sanders, maybe. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, who to me, I thought were going to be one of the top teams in the AFC, they are not looking good right now. They got blown out last week by the Houston Texans. Trevor Lawrence is looking okay, but he's not leading the team like I thought he would. I thought that Calvin Ridley, especially after week 1, was going to make his presence re-known. Like he was like, allow me to reintroduce myself to the league. Hasn't worked out. They haven't looked particularly good, especially on defense. Offenses hasn't been that much better. But I think that England is the home away from home, and somehow Jacksonville, no matter how good or bad they are, seems to win in London. So I'm going to pick the Jaguars for the win. All right, now first matchup of 1 o'clock games, we have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Tennessee Titans. It's not a good game. We have 2 1-2 teams that have not looked well, except for Cincinnati. They did look a little bit better Monday night against the Rams. Joe Burrow is still hampered, but the whole Tennessee offense is hampered by Ryan Tannehill being their quarterback, and I just don't think that they have enough. I think Cincinnati gets the win and jumps back into the AFC North race. I got to do it, I guess. Next matchup, we have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to the Dog Pound to take on the Cleveland Browns. I've been going back and forth all week long about this matchup. Will Lamar Jackson have to put everything on his shoulders once again and carry his team? Has Todd Monken figured some things out about his offense? I don't know if we have enough, especially with the wide receivers and the running game, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with Gus the Bus or Justice Hill. Is Lamar going to have to run the ball again? And I fear for that because, listen, Cleveland hits you. The Browns hit you, and I don't want Lamar out there running the ball 15, 20 times during this game. I think this game is going to have to be put on the Ravens defense. They may have to get a defensive touchdown in this game and kind of shut down the Deshaun Watson train. But going against my heart, I'm going to have to go with Cleveland for the narrow victory. Next 1 o'clock matchup, we have the Denver Broncos traveling to Chi-Town to take on Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. Didn't mean bums. Bears. Chicago Bears. My apologies. Bears, same difference. These are 2 0-3 franchises that just can't seem to get right. The Denver Broncos last week just allowed 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. I don't understand how in this day and age you can do that, but I guess they had no choice, especially with Sean Payton saying how much of a disgrace Nathaniel Hackett was coaching the Broncos last season. Even though at the same point in time, the Broncos were 2-1. They are currently 0-3. So what does that say about Sean Payton? I wonder. But Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears have their own issues right now, as Justin Fields has not taken those steps that everyone thought he was as far as progressing as a quarterback. Could it be him? Could it be the franchise? I just don't think, even though you put weapons on a team, if you don't have the right scheme or the right coaching staff, I think those causes issues. And I think they told Justin Fields, listen, don't run, don't do this. When you start dictating and having athletes think too much instead of just letting them play, I think that hinders them a little bit. But on his own, he should be a little bit further along, which he is not. So that makes this game really tough for me. But I think these statistics are Russell Wilson has never been 0-4 in his career, and Justin Fields has lost 11 straight games. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to eke by. In our next matchup, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Indianapolis Colts. I guess I'm going to have to put some respect on the Colts' name, being as they won in Baltimore last weekend. Now, the Rams just lost on Monday night to the Cincinnati Bengals, where you had Matt Stafford. Staffording is something that we come to expect. 2 interceptions. Like, he just can't seem to get right. But luckily, he won a Super Bowl with the Rams despite his play. Anthony Richardson has reportedly passed concussion protocol, so he may play in this game. I don't know if Anthony Richardson playing hurts or hinders the Colts, but I think I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts in this game. Now, for another toilet bowl game, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on our cousins, the little bro Carolina Panthers. Both teams are 0-3. Neither side is looking good. I know that offensively, Minnesota has the advantage. I don't know if Bryce Young is playing. I think that Andy Dalton gives the Panthers a better opportunity to win. I don't know who's playing, but I don't think that it really matters. I just think that the Panthers, even with what they have going on defensively, won't be able to contain Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So I'm going to pick Minnesota for the win. Sorry, Brownie. In the next game, this may be my upset special. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Texas to play the Houston Texans. Now, Houston just got their first win. CJ Stroud, like I told y'all, was going to be the best rookie out of the class. He's the only rookie that has played all 3 games. Statistically, I think he is 4th overall in NFL history in yards over the first 4 games of a rookie's career. He's looking better every week. I think Dallas looked amazing. Defensively, TJ Watt and Highsmith, Minka Fitzpatrick, like they have the pieces on defense. Kenny Pickett struggled a little bit, but all he has to do is throw it up to Pickens. And actually, Calvin Austin has now joined the party. Tough game to call, but I think I'm going with the upset special here, and I'm going to take Houston for the win. Knock the Pittsburgh Steelers down a peg because we don't need them winning and the Ravens losing and them being at the top of the division because we will not hear the end of that one. In our next matchup, we have the Jameis Winston Bowl. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling down to New Orleans to take on Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints. The former Buccaneers quarterback, I do believe, is starting because Derek Carr went out of the game last weekend. Jameis Winston is befuddling to me. He is a starting caliber quarterback in this league, but he chooses to take a backup role. I don't get that, but he gets his chance to start today. Tampa Bay, they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a close game, but I just think the sloppy play is what did them in. Surprisingly, Baker Mayfield threw his first interception in the Monday night game. So in this game, I think with the Bucs not really riding high on Rachaad White, and they're making some changes offensively, and Baker Mayfield being the quarterback, I'm gonna go with New Orleans. In our NFC least matchup, we have the Washington Commanders traveling over to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Now, last week, the Washington Commanders got mollywopped. The Bills beat them down. I think they were the first team in like 20-something years to have 9 sacks and pick up 4 passes. Sam Howell did not look like the quarterback that somebody had promised me early in the season. Very, very disappointing, but they said it's not going to happen again. It was an aberration. I'm not sure. I don't believe that Washington is as good as their record indicates, but Eric Bieniemy has this offense playing. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they struggled early on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's an issue of Jalen Hurts pressing, trying to get A.J. Brown the football because he was not happy. I just think if they play their offense, the Eagles are one of the top 2 to 3 teams in the league, and they can't be stopped. So Philadelphia is going to win this game pretty easily. I don't believe in anything, DC. Now, in our final 1 o'clock matchup, save the best for last, we have the Miami Dolphins. 3-0 Miami Dolphins taking on the 2-1 Buffalo Bills for the lead in the AFC East. Now, the Miami Dolphins look like the team to beat in the AFC right now. This is a very, very tough test. They just hung 70 points on the Denver Broncos this past week. The Buffalo Bills are trying to get back on the snide. Josh Allen did not look well against the New York Jets. He's had some bounce back games. I think that this will be a very telling game to who takes the early lead in the AFC East. Are the Miami Dolphins frauds? Is it who they've been playing in the past? This is going to be a real test. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, it's been Buffalo's division. You won't be the champ until you beat the champ. And I think that coming this Sunday, the Miami Dolphins are going to beat the champ to be the champ. Because to me, they look like the best team in the AFC. They look like the best team in the NFL. Now we head into our 4 o'clock games. Not too many of them this week, so we have to make do with what they put on. The first 4 o'clock matchup, we have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. This is an AFC West matchup. I know that Jimmy Garoppolo was knocked out of the game last week. I don't know his status for this game, but I don't think that it really matters. He is not a good quarterback. Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach. Now, conversely, Justin Herbert playing for Brandon Staley's coaching career last week, he got the Chargers their first win, but unfortunately, they lost Mike Williams in the process. I do think collectively that the Chargers have enough talent to beat the lowly Vegas Raiders. Also, you have Devontae Adams, who's not happy. He may be looking for an out from Las Vegas. I'm on over to the Ravens. But yeah, Chargers win this game easily. Raiders are just not a good franchise anymore. Next up, we have the surprising Arizona Cardinals traveling over to the Bay to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the Arizona Cardinals last week won their first game against the vaunted, scary Dallas Cowboys, which everybody thought was the best team in the league, except for myself. I knew they were frauds because they prove to be frauds every year. I don't believe it till I actually see it. But I was surprised that the Arizona Cardinals beat the Cowboys so handily. And of course, Dak Prescott, he had the game clinching turnover to end that game. I do think that Arizona's luck will run out because the San Francisco 49ers, as far as they go, they are one of the 2 to 3 best teams in the NFC. Maybe the best. I think they've been a little more consistent than Philadelphia. I know they have a lot more talent defensively. I just think the offense is what separates them because of the quarterback position. But Mike Purdy's doing his thing. Christian McCaffrey is probably right now one of the top, if not the top running back in the league. And Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuels, if he can stay healthy, we're going to lead that team. This is going to be a really easy game. San Francisco in the blowout. Final 4 o'clock game, we have the New England Patriots traveling down to Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be a homecoming for Ezekiel Elliott. Jerry Jones said he has something special planned for him, but it's not a new contract to come back to the team. So really cares. A lot of people pick this one as their upset special. I do think there's a possibility, it's a slim possibility, that McCorkle Jones take his team down there and win this game. And if they do, I think it will be done defensively. I think Bill Belichick will have to devise a scheme, slow down this run game, because what Belichick does is he takes away what you do best. And right now, the Cowboys run the ball the best. If they do that and put the ball in Dak Prescott's hands, he's going to turn it over and they may lose. But if they can't stop them from running, I think Dallas has the advantage. Tough game. I do a second upset. I don't believe in McCorkle. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. 8 p.m. Sunday night. Sunday night football. We have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to New Jersey, the New York Jets. I think Zach Wilson has proved he's not an NFL quarterback, and Robert Saleh's job is on the line. He's about to lose that locker room, trotting this dude out there week in and week out. I know Garrett Wilson is tired of arguing with his quarterback on screen. I just think this is not even really a game to really talk about. I just think the Kansas City Chiefs are just too much for the New York Jets to overcome. They just don't have anything offensively. They can't score enough points to keep up. So Kansas City large in this one. And finally, we get down to Monday Night Football. We have the Seattle Seahawks also traveling to New Jersey, play the New York Giants in the same stadium the very next night. Don't know why they would do that, but hey, they don't have to change much, but it is what it is. They just cover some things up and keep it pushing. New York Giants have not looked well. I think they're starting to regret giving $40 million a year to Daniel Jones. He cannot carry a team. I think that Saquon Barkley being injured, I don't know if he's injured, or he's my contract ain't worth it injured, and he's trying to show the team his value to them because they have not looked good. And I do know they had that comeback win versus the Arizona Cardinals, but they should not have gone down that big to the Cardinals in the first place. Defensively, I just don't think the Giants have lived up to the expectations that they had from last season, because they were actually great defensively last year. They just regressed some. I think it may be Wink Martindale. He does that. He did it in Denver. He did it in Baltimore. He's regressed. Now, Brian Daboll, I don't know what he can do with this offense, but something's not right. And I think that something is Saquon Barkley not being there. Now, on the flip side, we have the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith. Geno Smith has looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little skeptical putting him on my fantasy team, but he's done well for me. He DK Metcalf. I know Jackson Smith-Njigba has not kind of acclimated himself and caught up to the NFL game, but when it happens, they're going to be very explosive. So they've been leaning on Kenneth Walker. I just think that run game and their defense is what is going to put the Seahawks over the top. So we may see another blowout on Monday night. So I think the Giants may lose big. May not be 40-0 big, but it's going to be pretty big. So, like I said earlier, there was some news that I had for you to stick around for. Now, just to let you know, it is not here yet, but in the future, I am coming up with a website for everybody. And in this website, what it is it's going to put content creators together, and we're going to collab. We're going to share secrets. It's just going to be a membership-based website where we all can get together and help each other grow. Also, I have some products that are in the works that I am going to sell. Said this is a business, and I am trying to move my brand up a little bit, trying to do some things more conducive to business side of it outside of YouTube. So if you are a content creator, if you are a business owner yourself, you're just someone that is trying to grow email list, just grow a community. Stick around and stay tuned to see what we have coming. Just to let you know, as things start to get up and running and I get the minutia of everything down, there will be a discounted price for those that sign up early as to those who sign up during the launch. So just be, nothing to worry about, nothing too big. Just going to be a certain discount for those people. So just to let you all know, coming up, there is going to be a website, a community for us to all grow as one. Not just for me, it's for everybody. And for those that I collab with, for those that know me, they know that I want everyone to win. This is the chance to do it. The more influence I have, the more I can help other people. Just stick around, nothing big. Appreciate you for watching the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Also sign up for the Patreon so you can get special notifications. You can get special shout outs and some perks and just hang out with me and the crew. So until next time, it's your boy Hendo. I'm out.